Thank you so much for 3 really interesting presentations. I'd like to ask something from the kind of where political theory and psychology joins about values and also trade-offs. So one of the most interesting things I heard last year was a Brazilian governor talking about climate resilience and saying we don't just need to share good ideas, we also need to share how we do trade-offs, because there aren't easy solutions. The problem is that often people have different values, like liberals, conservatives, and how do you deal with either talking about trade-offs, whether in the climate diaries, or like unpacking different people's values rather than seeing it as irrational that 2 people have different views, but actually trying to probe beneath to find what the underlying values are that mean they might have a different view, whether it's on abortion or something about the role of the military or the royalty. How do you deal with that? Thank you.
Okay, so at Climate Diaries, we work especially with a theme that is difficult to deal in Brazil. Some activists on climate-related issues are persecuted judicially or personally, and it's a difficult topic to deal with. So at the political stance, you kind of are picking a side when you choose to build a technology for this, to support this kind of work. But we work with whoever wants to work with it. So yeah, we kind of do have to do some trade-offs and things like that, but it's already a very politicized and very, very difficult topic to engage with. If you want to contribute to something.
Cool. GD question. So has there been much official reaction to the project in terms of from parliamentarians or... sorry.
Okay. Can you repeat again?
Sorry, has there been any official reaction to the project in terms of from parliamentarians or wider society?
Yes, not because of our platform or process, because it's so simple and so neutral, but because of the content on the platform. One of the sensitive issues, actually 2 sensitive issues in Thailand is about the military itself and about the monarchy. And because we have no censorship on this platform, so everyone said appears, and we have contact by some officials that kind of try to regulate conversation about these 2 sensitive issues. But it right now is not actually a big threat, because we try to explain this comes from the participant in each group. But I don't know, maybe in the future, we did also discuss with the funder, FNF Thailand, how long can we go? Because if you kind of address something that dealing with the monarchy, you can go to jail. And yeah, not as a facilitator that I said, but as an inmate of the prison. Yeah.
No, thank you, that's really helpful. Rodney, I'm going to bounce off this top question, just to talk a bit about so this is questions. So GDS has been talking about cost reduction and citizen focus for ages, but government's still buying closed source stuff. I guess I have another sort of question around I completely sort of take on this. As somebody who works in civic tech, I'm constantly going like, oh, am I achieving anything ever? So I guess my question about cost reduction is, so there's a big civic tech moment in the UK when the coalition comes in 2011. There's a big alignment at that point of civic tech and cost reduction. It is everywhere. It's not just that we are doing the cutting edge, it's that we are doing efficiency and we are doing that. So I guess my sort of question is, at the same time as that came in was a lot of austerity and a lot of reduction in governance capacity. So I guess just to explore a bit more, how does that sort of like we can make things cheaper work with a cheaper state that achieves less?
God, I was struggling to answer the first question,
Sorry.
And now you're throwing this.
Pick any aspect of that you want to give an answer to.
Yeah, no, I'll give it a try. I'll do what I did in the talk. I'll answer the first question by metaphor. So In the United States, where I grew up, I started as an equity research analyst, and I was looking at the fund management industry. And you had two fund types in the United States. You had closed-end funds, which meant that you basically invested $1, and the next day you paid a commission out, and you only had 95 cents left in your investment. And then you had open-end funds where you could buy, and the next day you'd have 100 cents on the dollar. So you'd think that everybody would just buy open-end funds. But when I was an analyst, everybody, or most people, bought closed-end funds. Why? Because closed-end funds had a salesperson. And I think the answer to your first question is, but I think it also applies to the second question, Alex, is that there are salespeople who are pushing people to do things that may not be in their interest. And the open-end sector, the equivalent here, the open source sector, doesn't have the same resource. It's like, why do we do what tech wants us to do? Because they've got a lot of lobbyists and salespeople. And I think the answer to your second question is similar. I think that politicians say they need to cost, reduce, because they're unwilling to make trade-offs, which you mentioned. But guess what happens? They run into commercial interests who get them to buy stuff, and I think that's what happens.
That's really good, thank you. Giulio, I'm going to merge one of these questions. So, got a question here, and again, because we try to do work with journalists sometimes to create tools for journalists, and they don't always use them as much as I'd like. So I was really interested to hear a bit more about these ways you engage with journalists, if there's any more detail you wanted to go into and how you ran those programs.
Sure. We tried a bunch of stuff. At Open Knowledge Brazil is very linked to journalism and data journalism. The organization hosts the National Convention for Data Journalists, so we actually have a lot of experience with journalism there, and it was really try and error. We got the thing that, people will want this tool because we see the value in it, but they don't. You have to make a convincing argument. You have to be the salesperson for that project, and it's a long process where you mostly have to meet them at where they are at. So just giving the tool and presenting it's not sufficient. So the mini grant programs we did were like, it was related to Querido Diário, this specific program, and we will give 4 projects mini grant if they want to build this an article. This with Querido Diário, it was focused on small redactions. I don't know the name in English, but it was small collective of journalists, and we selected the collectives and gave them tutorials, hosted the table reunion, and then at the end, we evaluated the articles and published in their respective platforms and in ours to also make this sharing more effective. And it was great. We actually did more than one edition of that, but the thing is wrap everything up. Since we will help you use the technology until, you did that, you did great, that was awesome, we will share it also, and you can share on your platform. But this was great opportunity, and some of them really even engaged with us after. We had a group that gave a presentation at a conference about the experience they had publishing and getting to know the platform, and it was great.
It's really helpful, thank you. It's something we struggle with, so anyone who's doing well with it, I really want to steal. Cool, so I'll just give this final question to Judy and then I'm going to give it a break. So from the Slido, so is the aim of the project to draft a future constitution or just to show this is the kind of thing you would do if you were drafting it? Like what do you expect to come out of the process?
Okay, at the ideal situation, we want, because the process of drafting the constitution in our country, we need to have a committee to draft it. And my ideal situation, my ideal dream is actually they allow the normal citizen to be a part of that. That used to be happen in 1997 once in our country. At that time, our democracy is not that backsliding, but right now I'm not sure about that utmost situation. And at least they use this opinion to consider in the committee they kind of established together. And at the worst situation, at least we have a kind of material for journalists, for normal citizens, or other media that kind of address that we want this, and if they decide something against the kind of public opinion, we have a kind of material or resources to push against them. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, at that point, we can take off 1 minute early. So just one more round of applause for our panelists. Thank you for an amazing session. Thank you all so much.